Hey, today we're diving deep into the world of real estate and uncovering the power of a little known strategy called subject to.
Say what?
In this strategy, it has the potential to revolutionize the way that you do business and create win-win situations for you, your sellers, your buyers, and even your real estate agents. So strap in, grab your notepad, and get ready for a few secrets of this game-changing strategy. In this market, you're gonna need it. Let's go. Now, if this video caught your attention enough to click and watch it, there's actually a very decent chance that you have a basic understanding of what subject to is. But maybe you're struggling with how to structure the deal or explain it to potential clients or explain it to real estate agents. So don't worry, I got you covered. I'm gonna break down the subject to strategy for you into simple terms. I'm gonna give you the key points that you wanna make sure that you cover when explaining it to sellers and when explaining it to agents.
You can't do that.
What? You think you can't do subject to deals with agents?
Nope.
Hells yeah, I did this deal right here on Zoom with all my students watching even. No money down either. And I'll show you how I did it and how to structure and wholesale subject to deals too. You'll be so fired up and ready to take massive action like a caffeinated squirrel on a trampoline, bouncing off of walls, driving to reach new heights. So you ready? Let me know by clicking the like button, and the subscribe button is right there. All right, so to make this super simple to understand so that my 12-year-old could understand it, subject to is a creative financing strategy where you take over the mortgage payments of a seller's property. That's it. And notice I didn't say assume the mortgage. I said take over the payments of the mortgage. Very different. This can be a lifesaver for sellers who are struggling to make payments, need to move quickly, or simply can't sell their property for what they owe on it. And the secret sauce in getting deals like this done, it's in the presentation, specifically using the right words. Take over the maintenance and payments. You see, when you're talking to sellers or agents, avoid as much of the industry jargon as you can. I mean, it may make sense to you and I, but it confuses just about everybody else. I mean, if it doesn't flat out scare them.
Boo!
If you confuse them, you lose them. So instead of saying, I can buy your property subject to, just say, how about I take over the maintenance and payments on the property so you can move on with life? Sounds nicer, doesn't it? Like you're doing them a favor, right? I mean, all those other investors, they called me trying to steal my property for an ungodly low price, but you're gonna take care of my property and even make my payments for me?
You're goddamn right.
Yeah, got a nicer ring to it, doesn't it? At the very least, it keeps the negotiating door open. At best, you get a property with the money needed to buy it already in place. Yeah, when you do it right, the property actually comes with the money attached. And here's a key point for subject to deals for when an agent is involved. To get them to cooperate with you, you gotta dial into their frequency, their favorite radio station. WIIFM. What's in it for me? And to agents, that would be their commission.
They want money.
Make sure that they know they're going to get it, and then make sure that they do actually get it. Do that, and they'll play ball every time. And that's how I got this subject to done, by making sure the agent knew they were getting their full commission. The subject to strategy, it's actually nothing new, by the way. Did you know that subject to deals, they've been around since the 70s. They gained popularity as a creative solution for homeowners during an economic downturn. And here we are, the economy is turning down, and the subject to popularity is turning up. And did you know some of the most successful real estate investors built their entire empires on subject to deals? So the timing is right, and you're in good company if you choose to start using this strategy. And more about the presentation. You know, using stories will make it easier for your sellers and your agents to further understand subject to, because it's likely they've already done a version of it at some point in their lives, but they just didn't know it. They don't realize it. So when the situation calls for it, I tell sellers a story about when I got my first car. I so badly wanted these shiny chrome wheels for it, but I didn't have the $3,000 to buy them. But my mom, she had a credit card with a $5,000 limit. So my mom, she used the credit card to buy those rims for me, and then I made the payments on her credit card. That's subject to. It's a simple, relatable example that illustrates the strategy so that anyone could understand it. I mean, you've probably got a story like that. And if you don't, borrow mine. Now, how do you structure a subject to deal? Do you need a special contract? No, you don't. It's simpler than most people think. And there may be more than one way to do this, but this is how I put the paperwork together while my students watched me buy this property. And by the way, if you want some help with your real estate investing goals, let's hop on the phone and brainstorm some ideas on how to get you there faster. Just answer a few questions about yourself and your goals at reiace.com and pick a time to talk that's convenient for you. Now back to that contract. You just write in the price that you and the seller agreed to, just like you would on any other purchase agreement. And then write in the additional terms section, subject to the existing financing. And that's all there is to it. And here's some additional things that you could include that will really help smooth things over. Let everyone know, and write into the additional terms as well, that you'll be paying the closing costs and that you'll be paying the agent's commission. And if there's enough room, try to see to it that the seller gets something to help them get to their next destination. Even just $5,000, $10,000 to the seller, that can go a long way in keeping the deal together, especially if they're in a tight spot financially, of which when it comes to subject to deals, that's usually the case. And with that deal that I was telling you about, the seller, they didn't want anything, they didn't want any money. They didn't want anything except for the bank to stop calling them. So I made that happen for the seller.
Win-win.
Now, once everyone agrees, introduce your transaction coordinator to the seller and the agent. That's how I do it. And I give all my students access to my TC, my transaction coordinator, because she's kind of got superpowers when it comes to the creative stuff. So they love that they don't have to handle any of the paperwork, the mountain of paperwork, or deal with the banks and taking over the loan, or the insurance company, or the distressed seller disclosures, or the authorizations. They don't have to deal with any of that stuff. For less than the price of a zirconia-encrusted rubber duck, everything with her goes smoothly so you can spend your time where it's most valuable, taking down your next deal. Now, most of the time, I will keep my subject twos as income property, especially right now because they almost all have low interest loans attached to them. But you can wholesale subject to deals too.
I knew you could do that.
And it's no more complicated than just making sure that your purchase agreement is assignable, just like you would with any other wholesale deal. Find a buyer and charge them an assignment fee to step into your place into that agreement. Yep, it's that simple. Now, if this just all went right over your head like and you want to get to the basics of how a subject to deal works first, I put a link down below in the description for a video that does just that. Subject to is not a one-size-fits-all strategy, but it is a powerful and versatile tool in your real estate investing toolbox. By understanding the ins and outs of subject to, optimizing your approach, and embracing the spirit of collaboration, you can create lucrative opportunities for yourself, your sellers, your agents, and your fellow investors that most other investors can't. The sky is the limit with the right know-how, resources, support, and mindset. With all that, you can achieve anything. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.